What is up, LinkedIn connections, everyone who's inside the industry of foreign trade, whether it's coffee, whether it's other soft commodities or metals. Thank you guys for whoever's watching. And little market report for this week out of Brazil. We're going to be mainly discussing about coffee this week. Some interesting information that actually I did bring up on my other social media on Instagram, talking about crops, crop this year versus last year, and the stocks, certified stocks of coffee, so worldwide. So let's get into this really quickly here, so I don't take too much of your time. I work in mainly coffee in Brazil. Now, apparently out of Secafé, which is the Council of Exporting Coffee out of Brazil, I guess apparently we're going to have up to 39 million bags exported this year. It's not going to hit the $40 million bags mark, but it will hit 39. In November, at the end of November, it was 36. So I'm putting up at maximum 3 million bags because of logistics, because of end of the year recession, because of the producers that are defaulting against these exporters. So I'm going to go not more than 3 million for December, so I would put up 39 million bags. Now somebody called me. Now anyway, versus 44 to 45 million bags in 2020. See, that's where I want to get to. 39 is a pretty decent number, but 44, 45 was really high for Brazil last year. And at the same time, because of this year's harvest and the stocks worldwide, the world stocks are going down. Well, obviously, as we've seen over the last couple months, since the frost, prices have skyrocketed. We're at $2.37, $2.39 per pound right now, with the Brazilian real $1 equivalent to $5.70. Yes, it has gotten weaker. Now, the production for 2021 was around 47 to 48 million bags, which is obviously lower than the original estimate, which was around 60 million bags, because this year was supposed to be a high year, high cycle for coffee production. So next year, more likely, guys, we're not going to be seeing more than 50 million bags, and I would hope we see 50 million bags. Why? So we can get actually some supply chain. We can get restock on these stocks, right? For coffee, Brazilian coffee around the world. I don't know if that's going to happen, because also I found out that last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was last year. Yeah, I don't know if it's 2019 or 20, but anyway, I did a little research that Brazil consumed 14 million bags of coffee. So the consumption of Brazil is really high. Obviously, it's growing every year. Per the last research that I saw for last year, was about 2.1%, if I'm not mistaken. Now, 14 million bags is a lot of coffee. Yes, with respect to the type of coffee that is being roasted here in Brazil, which is mainly higher defects, lower grade, higher defects, right? And café consumo, as they say, café resíduo, as they say it in Portuguese. Grinders, maybe as you would know it internationally. Grinders with higher defects. Now there's a little hook to that I want to get into also for some thought at the end of the year, and for next year's planning. For next year's, who are the buyers that are planning to purchase next year, who have stock now at the end of the year around the world, whether it's Italy, whether it's Egypt, whether it's Jordan, Lebanon, the United States, anywhere, Greece. Now, Colombia is a top 7 coffee importer from Brazil this year. I guess most of us who are in the industry would know why. Colombia has more expensive coffee than Brazil. Colombian grinders or Colombian residue, naturally more expensive than Brazilian. So what happened is Colombia started importing Brazilian grinders or Brazilian high defect coffee, which would have been used in the internal market or stocked or anyway. But it would be used in the internal market, and I believe that this would affect a little bit of the supply and demand internally in Brazil, because what happens here is this: when you're not finding a certain type of coffee, obviously when Brazil, they're consuming more coffee internally. I'm consuming coffee here in Brazil, everybody is. The tendency to look for for the production or for the means to to get the offer of this coffee, it tends to rise, right? Because if you have less coffee in the market and the Brazilian roasters are looking to buy, that means they're going to pay higher prices. Now, what I noticed recently is that roasters are paying any price. Roasters are paying any price they can get on whatever coffee they can get because of that lack of in Brazil. Because of that lack of. Now put 1 million bags, 1 million coffee bags, between 700,000 between Arabica and about 300 or 250 for Robusta. 1 million bags that would be used for, I guess, let's say in the best way possible, it would be used for internal consumption. 1 million bags was exported to Colombia, making it 7th largest importer of Brazilian coffee, ahead of Turkey. And Turkey's a 90+% Brazilian coffee importer, especially for Rio Minas type coffees. Now that's something to think about. I mean, that's something to think about for the consumer industry, for the consumer side, and especially for next year, because this tendency is going to continue to go, especially if we're going to keep exporting to Colombia. And obviously it's interesting to export to Colombia, but also put in mind, who are the people that are exporting to Colombia? Is it mainly multinationals that have that leftover residue all over their warehouses and they just pack it up and ship it to their Colombian counterparts, their Colombian sister companies? I don't know. Somebody would probably should comment about that. If you do know more about that, please do comment below. They say that also next year's crop will be lower than 50 million bags. So I mean to conclude this little conversation over here with you guys about coffee this week, do we really have a possibility of going back under $2 per pound, or 200 cents per pound in coffee prices for next year, even during the harvest? I originally thought so. My thoughts are a little bit different today. My thoughts are a little worrisome, to be honest. So, because of the situation, if Brazil does lack on production next year, we don't know. We're only going to know during the harvest, to be honest. CONAB is going to go launch some predictions for next year, like the middle of January. They might put an estimate of how much Brazil is gonna produce, but you're not gonna know. I want to tell you also, last thing actually, before I didn't mention that, last thing before I finish, certified coffee stocks around the world. We're at about 1.5 million bags of Arabica, which is the lowest point since like some point of last year, which used to be like 1.2 million. But we're at 1.5 and it's going lower, slowly, but not that slow. And we're at 101,000 tons of Robusta coffee. So yes, also at its lowest point over the last 6 months, but over the last 5 years, no, it's not at its lowest point. So definitely some information to keep out on. Hope you guys enjoyed it for this week, talking a little bit about coffee. I'm Thomas Raad, CEO and founder of Bravos International Trading, living in Sao Paulo, Brazil, originally from the United States. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. Stay classy and have a good one.